Alex Garland is one of my favorite directors working right now. He's a brilliant writer with a knack for creating interesting stories. In fact, some of you may know his 2024 outing Civil War was one of my favorite movies from last year. So much so that I made my own fan film with some friends that I'm currently editing. He's been a big influence on my life. And yes, some of his work isn't the best or my favorite. It's also really funny how we had two Devil May Cry references this week. Interesting. Anyways, that brings us to Warfare. When I watched Civil War, I had thought, why doesn't he go and make a war movie where he doesn't have to hold back, where we can focus on the soldiers, where we can focus on the actual combat? And I heard him and his military advisor at the time, Ray Mendoza, were working on a war movie about his time in Iraq. So, when the poster came out for this one and the eventual trailer, I was very excited. I was so looking forward to this one. And another thing, I expected this movie to be at every AMC Dolby Cinema around the valley. It wasn't. Rami Malek's movie, The Amateur, was. And it was playing in every single one. And I'm sorry, but when I watched the trailer to that, and then I watched the trailer to Warfare, there was one showing halfway across town, about 30 minutes away, at 10:30 at night. I think this is one of the grittiest, down-to-earth war movies I've seen in a very long time. Everything was so visceral, and the movie was just sewn together so tight. This really feels like a personal account from the producer, Ray Mendoza, and his squad mate, Elliot Miller, who was crippled after this incident. I can just tell there are little things throughout the movie, specifically related to sound, that the team working on this knows what they're doing. The cinematography is really good. It's all very gritty, ground earth, a lot of handheld, and that paired with some insane audio effects work, chef's kiss. Again, I went out of my way to watch this in a Dolby Cinema for a reason, and I think it's a crime that it's not in one. When the defecation hits the oscillation, the sound design goes to work, and oh my, there's a lot of detail when it comes to the gunfire, with it cracking instead of it just being gunshots. The bullet casings hitting the ground, it just... I could go on and on about how great this movie sounds. Another thing too, this movie pretty much takes place in the span of an hour and 30 minutes out of these guys' life. It's a movie that takes place in real time. There's not many time skips. There's a couple in the very tail or in the beginning of the movie, but overall the chunk of this movie takes place in real time. And the production team worked really hard to throw you front and center at all this. And if this doesn't get nominated for at least sound design, I will be very, very disappointed. Speaking of sound, another thing I had to comment on, this movie has no soundtrack. There is a really funny use of Call On Me by Eric Prydz in the beginning, and there's a ending soundtrack for the credits. You guys know me. I love sound design when I talk about it in video games, and here, it's everything I've wanted. And since there's no soundtrack to kind of go along with this, it has to build up the tension through atmosphere, through dialogue, and through sound. And with that being said, dialogue-wise, let's get into some of the actors. Will Poulter from the popular You Guys Are Getting Blank meme, I'm sorry. I know everyone knows him from that, but he's been in so many other great things, and it's great to see him here. And I don't know, I've personally never seen him take a role and run with it so well. It's such an adult performance from this character, and I'm straight up impressed. There are some other familiar faces in here too. Joseph Quinn from the recent Quiet Place movie. Again, haven't really seen him in anything else. He brings basically one of the most important roles to the movie, and I won't spoil it, but his performance here, again, top notch. And I'll put his name up on the screen. I think it's pronounced DeFaro, who, I'll be honest, I looked at his IMDb. I haven't seen him in anything else, but he's actually playing the producer Ray Mendoza himself. And I like the fact that he doesn't make himself like a hero. He could have kind of glorified himself. He really doesn't. And that's where, again, the personality of his character shines through, is he's really just there trying to survive. He's just a guy. And I think, again, that's what I think that's make this movie special. There isn't necessarily much in terms of character development, but that's because the main point of the movie is to provide the audience with a little bit of insight as to what it felt like being on the ground during the Battle of Ramadi in Iraq. There is no big political talking points here, despite this being a movie about the invasion of Iraq. It really does just try and walk you through a small team of SEALs trying to survive, and I really appreciate it for doing so. This could have been something that was insanely glorified. This could have been something that they could have overblown, but they really didn't. They chose to make such a gritty, grounded, realistic story. And I have to comment on the action, obviously, because it's a war movie. Again, this movie feels very dirty. There's not like a set, hard action scene. It's not a typical action war movie, and I kind of appreciate it for being more grounded. As a war movie, Warfare is very effective at dropping us into the battle alongside the cast. I'm pretty sure I walked out with PTSD and an M4. With amazing visuals and a killer sound design, see this in the theater. If you cannot see it in a Dolby, go see it in IMAX. Go out to a theater and support this movie, guys. It is worth it 1000%. I think this might be so far my favorite movie of the year. We'll see what this year has to offer, but that's where I'm standing. What's everyone else's favorite war movie? If I had to choose one, it would be Saving Private Ryan. It will always be on that list, but I think Warfare just made it up there. Comment below, let me know what you guys think. If you've seen it, if you've not seen it, again, what's your favorite war movie? Please don't forget also to like and subscribe for more of my content, and as always, thank you for watching.